Hello and welcome back for another live stream. Today I have a lot of things to unbox and look through, and it's going to be a lot of fun. There's more that what you can't see here. But thank you for joining me. If you're new here, these live streams are a lot more casual than my main videos, and we love to just have a bit of fun. You could talk with me, and Shane's here as well. Hi, Shane.
Hi. Do you remember last time you went to NAMTA, what happened with all the stuff that you brought back?
Oh, that's right. So for context, this unboxing is from the NAMTA Creativation Art Show, which is basically a trade show. So it's for retail stores to talk to manufacturers, to talk to products and companies and everything like that. And they do let some creators and influencers in as well. And this year I was actually an exhibitor, but Shane's pointing out 2 years ago when I first attended, when I came home, I ended up buying an extra suitcase on the way back because I ended up with so many supplies from a lot of places.
That was because you got a lot of supplies, but then you also bought a lot of stuff.
That's true. That was also one of my earlier trips to the US. And so we did a big shopping spree at, I think, it would have been.
You went to a few of them. You went
that's
Art
right.
Supply Warehouse and everything, and you got, because you were really depressed at how much cheaper the paper and stuff was.
I think you might be getting mixed up with NAMTA versus VidCon.
Maybe.
VidCon we did Art Supply Warehouse, different location. But the last time we went to NAMTA, it was, I ended up with a whole extra bag just for the stuff I bought, for the shopping I did, and for all the art supplies that I was able to get little samples from different brands to check out some of the new things. And when we came home, I had 3 suitcases, 2 of them basically just full of art supplies and 1 with my actual clothing. And one of the biggest suitcase with all the art supplies went missing on the way home. They found it and it arrived at our house about 3 days later. But I had a few days of like, I don't know if we're getting this stuff back. It was a lot. So it's very good to get that back. This trip home this time was equally entertaining, I guess, is one way to put it.
Your flight got very delayed because Dallas had like thunderstorms and just got like completely shut down.
So I was in St. Louis for this, and then I had to get to Dallas, and my Uber was 40 minutes late because they were a block away and the thing kept sending them in circles. And at this point it actually injured my tibia tendon during the pack down of the expo. So by the time I get to the airport, I'm exhausted, and then the plane was then delayed an hour, but then we got on the plane and got on the tarmac, got on the runway, and then they said, actually, sorry, they've just cancelled our runway. So we sat at the end of the runway for another 40 minutes. And then we finally get into Dallas, and we were so late that my plane to Australia had already started boarding before I got off the plane, and it's in another terminal. So I'm in a panic because it's our kid's birthday in a few days, and I did not want to miss that flight to Australia because they're only like once a day.
And didn't you you got off your domestic flight and you're like, I'm on this flight and it's about to board, and they're sort of, when you're on the plane, they're like, that's okay, we'll help you out.
We'll help you out.
And then when
There's
you go off
lots
the
of people
plane, they're
late.
like, you better run.
Yeah, I got off the plane with a few other Australians who were trying to make the same flight, and my leg was getting worse by this point. I was hobbling, and one of the other Australians spoke to someone at the gate and said, oh, we're trying to make the international flight. Like, is there something you can do? She goes, well, you better hurry. And she's like, but can't you call? She's like, no, you just need to go. It's like, oh, okay. So all the other Aussies headed off and let them know I was coming. And I slowly
Every man for themselves.
dragged my leg behind me because at this point I couldn't bend my foot like this at all at this point. It was pretty bad. And I was like, if I can at least get to the next plane, then it's like a 17-hour flight from there and I can rest on the plane. So by the time I got to Sydney, which was not my last stop, I thought that my leg would be better. The plane was now arriving late, so they already rebooked my Sydney to Melbourne flight. The good thing is Sydney to Melbourne, there's so many. I was like, I don't even care at this point if I miss it. Like, it'll be fine. Once I'm in Australia, I'm fine. And I got to Sydney and I took like 10, 15 steps and went, oh no, I can't walk on this foot anymore. It's not gotten better, it's gotten worse. I basically strained the tendon at this point. But there was still a long way to walk because I had to still get from the plane to the customs and baggage and then go to the domestic terminal. So it was a long walk. And so I've turned to someone that I saw that had the wheelchair and I was like, oh, is there any chance I could grab the wheelchair? And they're like, I'm sorry, you should have organised that back at the gate. And I'm looking back at the gate. I'm looking where I am. I'm just like, I'm just going to go slow. So I just walked and slowly dragged. And by the time I got to the check-in for the domestic, I couldn't bend my foot either way. It was really bad. So then when I checked in, they'd missed the flight. So they booked me on the next flight. They accidentally downgraded my ticket and then couldn't fix it. And my bags were, like, it was just like one thing after another. By this point, I'd been traveling for 27 hours. So I was also quite exhausted. And I said to them, is it possible to get a wheelchair? Because at this point I can't walk. So that took it was about another 15, 20 minutes. And the next, I had layovers that were supposed to be like 3.5 hours. I was going from one plane to the next and almost missing them every time because of just everything. So they got me in a wheelchair, which meant I had to wait for a specific shuttle. Whoop. And then they're like, okay, can you just take like 5 steps from the wheelchair to the shuttle? And I went to stand up and I was like, I can't take another step on this. Like it was bad. So then I had to wait for longer to get the wheelchair in the back of the special shuttle that takes the wheelchair. That was a very different experience. And I felt completely useless. I have never felt so helpless in a place. And because I was traveling by myself. So I was just like, this just sucks. Like I can't do anything.
And when you're in Sydney transferring between terminals, you're like driving over like runways and stuff.
Well, we literally in this little shuttle bus with me in the back, a bus just for me, was driving around all the tarmac and everything. And it was just like, this is a different perspective. We finally got there. We managed to get on. I wasn't the last person to board the flight, but it was coming to a close and it was all good. And I got there and I got to Melbourne and basically by that point my foot was so bad that I had to get a wheelchair even after I got Shane to come pick up the bags. This is like 29 hours travel at this point. And I took one step and at that point I thought I had fractured my ankle. Like I was like, have I like had a hairline fracture this whole time that I've been walking on and making worse? Because the pain was unbearable. And so we ended up basically transferring from the Qantas wheelchair to the airport terminal wheelchair, and then Shane managed to pull up his car and it was this whole thing, and the staff, they were wonderful and they helped and they like wheeled me out to wait for Shane to wait for the car. Everyone held my hands while I tried to get into the car, and we basically, instead of going home, went to the urgent department in the hospital, which was another 3 hours. So it was a very long trip home. The good news is it was just a strained tibia, a strained tendon. It was quite bad, but it really just needed like 2-3 days of raised rest, bit of like just looking
Points
after
to
it.
Qantas for looking after you.
They did look after me. It was not the journey home that I expected after what was actually a very busy event. But I'm here and I'm fine, and I kind of just took a few slow days after that because it was a lot.
And we have a lot of members who have joined us.
Oh,
So
amazing.
let me go through some.
All right.
We've got Carol. We have lots of people who have like numbers and stuff. So Carol, Terry, M, Jordan, Melville, Alex, Lizzle, or yeah, is it Lizzie Island Heart? I think, maybe, or Izzy. Dark Reveille. And I think that's all of our members. I don't think I missed anyone.
Welcome.
And-
Welcome, members.
And
welcome
Kristen,
everyone
who
else.
joined Silver before the live stream.
Amazing. Welcome to our membership. For those who don't know, the members basically after this live stream, we're going to do a little bonus live stream for members only. It's usually stuff that's a bit less like continuation of this, and it's more stuff like looking at some of the products we're working on or helping them make some decisions on some upcoming things. So it's the members tend to get a bit more of like a behind the scenes look at what's happening. So we'll be doing that after this live stream. We have a tiered membership. So we do have a bronze membership that gives you basically just emojis in the comments. Otherwise, silver and up will get access to the next live stream and then access to our Discord as well where we all hang out. But I want to jump in because I was planning on like getting through this quickly, and instead we've just spent the first however many minutes talking about my flight home. So NAMTA is an art trade show. So basically what I have here is a lot of samples from different brands. I want to show you all of them because I was a lot more selective this year after having a whole suitcase last time. This time I was far more selective in what I took. I wanted to really just take stuff that I was genuinely interested in, genuinely wanted to show you, and a lot of the brands that I just really like their stuff. I also have some things here that in some cases I don't believe are public yet. I'm a little bit unclear on which of these things are like pre-release versus already released, so it might be something you can help me with as we go. But I do want to jump straight in, and actually the first thing I want to show you is from a class that I took, and I actually brought so Renee, who's on our team, she lives in LA, but she actually joined me for this event. So it was her and me. So anyone who attended the event or seen photos, you'll see Renee and I, Sarah, Renee, and Renee. And to be more confusing, there was also another Sarah Clark there who helped us with pack down. So we had Sarah Renee Clark and Sarah Clark and Renee.
So
and
altogether, there was 2 Sarah Renee Clarks.
there were 2 Sarah Renee Clarks.
Put it all together.
So a lot of fun. Anyway, so the first thing that I did, and because Renee hasn't done a lot of art herself, I wanted to give her a deep dive, and I thought, what a better deep dive into the world of art and getting messy and having fun than a class with Dina Wakely. So I actually have here, somehow I ended up with Renee's journal as well, so I'll have to take this one back to her next time I travel. Everything was such a rush in the pack down. But I do have a box of goodies from that class, and there's some pretty cool stuff here. So let me give you a quick tour. So these are her, well, oh, that camera is so close. I think because...
Do you remember our discussion before the stream where I said, is this framing all right? And you're like, can you do it closer because this stuff's quite small?
Well, I mean, okay, let's go back to the camera for a second. It's probably perfect for like showing off. Yeah, like perfect for this stuff. It's just, my hands are huge. Let me try and give you more of a front camera for some of the bigger things. So this journal, so what we created in this class, now this one, whose is this one and whose is the other one? Oh, you know what? This is mine because I was using it to test other things too. So this is what we created in Dina's class. Let me give you, it will be quite close, but let me show you from the top. Oh, no, that's perfect. Look at that. So we created this with mixed media and with all the different supplies that she gave us in the class. And here is Renee's one as well. I'm going to show you because Renee is like first time artist, and look at what she was able to create. So I do recommend Dina's classes. They're really good. This is like a fun little 3D thing here where you actually have created all these things. Like it's just mixed media fun, but like this was Renee's first dabble in any of this. I'm not gonna be able to put this back in now, am I? And look how cool it turned out. And you can see how different it is from mine, even though we both did the same class at the same time. So there's a lot of like freedom in like making it yourself. We did have the same color palette. So some of the stuff that we used in the class, we have these paints, which I was very happy to get more of, although I'm a bit bummed somehow because there's like one person in each class gets like the A set and one gets the B set and you share them. Somehow I ended up with 2 of this papaya color instead of the white. And I would have really liked another white because I love, these have this tiny little tip. And I don't know if you've ever seen me use it, but I have a white one of this that's almost empty from the last time I did basically the same class. And I love using these as like detail on top because you can do really good just like scribbles with them because of the tip, and they're really good quality paint. So I'm really happy to have a few more of these. I should actually just buy a bunch of them. I've been using the ones that I had from the last class because they were colors that I love anyway, but I actually use them a lot. And then these, I still don't, so we didn't use these. These are both still sealed. I actually don't know what these do, so we'll have to explore them at some point in a future mixed media stream or something. So that's what we have. And then the media glue is just a really strong glue for attaching things and just really helpful when you're doing the mixed media. But the reason I wanted to have the white here is because that was a big part of what we did with these, was using the white and stenciling with the white. And it was a technique that I've never personally, hang on, I think messy already. Look how messy this all is. It was a technique that I personally had never really done before, where you actually do the white paint first, and then you put the other paint over it, and then you actually get a baby wipe and like rub it off. And it, because the white paint basically turns the paper into an acrylic, like a plastic surface, it then resists the new, like you can then rub off the new paint and it will have soaked into the paper, but not soaked into the other paint, if that makes sense. So it's a technique I want to try again. I actually thought it was a lot of fun. I also just have a bunch of, so these are what we use to apply the paint. They attach to the little handle. I have a bunch of these actually behind me up here, I'm not going to get up to them. I have a bunch of them up there that I use for my distress paints as well, but I do find them really fun for mixed media for paint. And lots more. I love all these little, I keep all of these little bits of like just the little tags and just bits and pieces, because these are a lot of fun to add to my mixed media box to use for future. So got little envelopes.
I think when I did her class at the last one, she said that she just spends like evenings just making all those random things and just has like
just bits like this
of stuff, so that when she goes to do something, she's just got like all that stuff.
Exactly, right? A fodder box. I have a fodder box that I started after doing my mixed video. If you haven't seen it, actually, I have a video where I did mixed media and like really went into all of it for the first time. Dina's a part of that video as well. And I try a lot of these techniques, and I kind of have got hooked on things like stencils ever since. These are transparencies, so these just become a part of your art, and you just cut out what you'd like to use. So I've got some different ones here. So this one, I believe, was one that we used in one of these designs. So that those purple dots, it's actually a clear transparency. And then these butterflies, all of the butterflies were actually rub-ons. Now, I have used rub-ons before. I think this is them, right? That's an unused one. I've used rub-ons before, but I was never that impressed with them. I want to show you. Let me find a random, I mean, this is kind of got something on it. Let's use this one. So if we take, let me just move some stuff out of the way so we can actually see what we're doing here. Okay. I don't need all these right now. I just want to show you the rub-on thing. They usually give you like a little paddle pop stick, but I think I've lost it. And I'll just cut out, because you just kind of want to use a section of this. All right. So these are a lot of fun. And I've used rub-ons before, but most of the time when I use rub-ons, I'm not that impressed by them. So can I have a top camera, Shane? So this is kind of, it looks like a sticker, and it is a little bit sticky, but the intention is that you put it down and then you rub over it. This is where a paddle pop stick is perfect. I'm just using my nail. But when I've done this in the past, I found that they're very hit and miss as to what sticks and what doesn't. But these ones that Dina has made, I was so impressed that they just, and again, I'm only using my nail rather than the proper system. But when I did it in the class, look at that. It's like a perfect peel, except for the little bit that I didn't touch at the bottom.
You could almost say you nailed it.
I nailed it. And so that's now like stuck on there like a sticker, except that because of how fine those bits of art are, you couldn't have done that with a sticker. So that's really cool, because you can put that on top of whatever painting you've done. So it's just like a whole nother kind of medium. And I think that's a lot of fun. So I want to see if I can find more that are this kind of quality, because these are really impressive. So I'm curious even if Dina has some more on the Ranger website, which is where a lot of her stuff is sold. So that was a lot of fun. Really loved that class. This is probably the worst thing to have pulled out, because now it's all a mess. Let me grab. I've got a bag. I can put it all back in. Because I want to have a look at what else we have here. I do also have... How did I end up with so many of them? I ended up with a lot of the rub-ons, and yet I used a set. So maybe someone else gave some... I don't know. Anyway, I also have the stencils.
Did you steal them?
No, it would have been that like maybe whoever was like next to Renee didn't want theirs or something and gave them to her, and because it feels like I have a few more than I should have. Yeah, so I'm just gonna pop these away. Any thoughts in the comments, Shane, from anyone who's used some of this stuff?
Lots of comments on how good my pun was.
This is a problem when I trust Shane with the comments on his own, because I can't fit my laptop here. I don't actually know if what he's telling me is true.
Terry says that rub-on transfers are showing up in a lot of card making and scrapbooking videos.
Actually, I feel like it's actually something that like I'd be curious to make.
And
I'd want to do it right.
They're also cool for backgrounds.
That's a good idea. Now I do have, no, that's not. I think there's also just some fun art tape, which is cool. And I had some ribbon in there, but I'm going to move on. So that's all the stuff from Ranger. I do like the mixed media journals too. I think I just like the idea of having more journals, and these have the nice stitching and really nice paper. The only thing I don't like about pretty much any mixed media journal I've come across is that mixed media tends to get quite big. And so these always end up like exploding by the end. Oh, there's a random stencil there.
Like the Create This book.
like to create this book that we ended up rebinding. Oh, that one's a bit damaged. That's okay. As Dina would say, oops, oh well. But the thing I do love about these is because the covers are blank too, eventually you just get paint on the cover and the covers end up being an art piece in themselves. So a lot of fun. But I will try and encourage Renee to keep the other one because I think everyone should have at least one like messy journal. Speaking of like sketchbooks and stuff though, that brings me to the next one here. And this is a company I actually came across, I was sent one of these a while ago. You might recognize this coloring book, which is the Cozy Adventures coloring book. I have a version of this that I was given, I'd almost say a year ago, but my concept of time is not great, so maybe it's not. But I didn't end up using it a lot because I was told that it was a prototype and I was a bit hesitant to use something that wasn't available for everyone to buy. This... Ironically, this now isn't available, but that's because they've sold so well that I was told by, what's his name? Carlo from Luchetti. I met him at NAMTA, which was great because previously we'd only talked on emails. So it's really nice to meet the person behind the business, and especially when it is a small business, that's really nice. So he's the person who made this book. He's not the artist. He has hired another artist for this. In fact... Luchetti, same last name. That's interesting. I wonder if there's a relation there. Actually, he might not be Luchetti, isn't it? I'm overthinking this. Okay. Anyway, this book, he's told me they're getting new stock in about a month. So if you go looking for it now, it might not be there, but give it another month or so and they'll be there. But I want to show you, and this is again where I'm going to regret getting Shane to put this camera so close. I've started colouring in this book for my next video. Because the thing about this book compared to every other colouring book that I've ever tried is not only is it like 400 GSM paper that's smooth, so it handles the alcohol markers really well, and I'll show you in a minute, it's also actually perfectly lay flat. So I've never seen another colouring book that is so lay flat, let me move that away for you, that you can't actually, look, there we are, that one. That one's in the way. That you can actually just colour straight over the join. So these are huge pictures and they're really cool. It is that bold and easy style. He's added a few that are single pages as well. I think the prototype that I have doesn't have the single pages ones, but I have colored a few in here and I'm actually really enjoying coloring these. Look at this one. I want to color this one. How cool is that? Cute, right? The thing about these is that they're just like, for the bold and easy style, or the cute coloring style, what do you call it? Cozy coloring. I found that just the paper of these has been really nice to work on, especially with the Olo markers. I'll show you in a minute when I find it. The Olo marker page that I've started. It's another cute. I like the ones that are tall. It's not something I would have thought I'd like. Just a cute one there. So lots of cool pictures, and it just feels like really high quality. I have blue tacked some of these together when I was coloring them, so they're not usually stuck together. This is the one that I have been working on. So this is my double spread jelly page. And so for this, I used the Olo alcohol markers, and let me give you the top camera so we can actually see the detail close up. But this is actually a rainbow blend underneath. And the combination of the really good blending of the Olo with the paper that this has just been amazing. So I was able to really have fun with this page, get a really good result, and it's probably one of the favorite pages I've ever done now. So I really like it. But yeah, that's the lay flat, which is cool. I did do another one in here.
A lot of love in the comments for the 400 GSM.
Yeah, so let me show you though. Like, I'm not joking when I say that it doesn't go through. So back on this page that I have, because again, these are kind of blue tacked together. Well, I mean, I accidentally just broke that, and it's literally 2 pages joined together. So that was because I had a blue tacked. So it's huge paper. But that, I blended this over and over and over to get really neat blends. Not even a tiny bit of bleed through on that. And the same with, I've done this one as well. So again here, you can see I did pretty, like, lots of blending between the different colors in the background. And on the back, no bleed through at all. So if you want to do alcohol markers, what that means is that it can be a double-sided book, whereas every other coloring book lately is just single-sided. And I think this just feels I don't know. If I was giving a gift to someone, I'd prefer to give them something like this than a single page book, because single page books, unless you know about the bleed through and everything, it sort of doesn't make as much sense. And the blending on this paper is so much. I don't even know what kind of paper it is. I just like it. But so, oh, there you go, 16 inches. That's an inches sign, right? We don't do inches here. Oh, and it also has, so I didn't know this, a little, nice little thing to hold it together. A little, what do you call that? Belly, no, not belly band. What do you call that? Ribbon?
Elastic.
Elastic. Thank you. So Marco that makes these also makes these beautiful, and this is actually, these beautiful sketchbooks. Sorry, I don't finish my sentences. This is actually what drew my attention to his stand, and I was just like touching the paper for a very long time before realizing it was the same person that made the coloring books. So I have two different books here. These are true lay flat as well. They're beautifully made, really giftable, high quality, and they're mixed media, but they're 100% cotton. So they're gorgeous. This is the cold press. You can almost, in the camera, you can almost see the grain. I'm trying to work, there you go. Can you see that grain? It might not come through on the quality of the video, but it is beautiful. It just feels so nice. I want to touch all the pages. And again, it's that perfect lay flat. We might need a side shot of that. The perfect lay flat so that you can just paint straight over the seam. I'm not even entirely sure how that works, but it's almost like, so I think because they're so thick, it's almost like they've glued two pages together. So this actually is one page. Which feels like a very complicated manufacturing process, but it creates a beautiful result. So I'm really excited. He has a few different sizes as well, and I do like that they're square. He had some little ones, and I was sort of, I might go back and buy the little ones because they were, I don't know, about this size. And I was like, oh, that'd be so fun. It's just a travel book. But look how thick this thing is as well. Like, this is such a cool, just like, keepsake. And then the hot press one as well. Oh, this is the one that, because it's cotton, because it's 100% cotton. I don't know if like I'm dirtying the pages by running my hands on them all, but I don't really care because it's just
Probably.
But they feel so cool. I wish you could have like a feel sensory thing through the video somehow, but very, very nice quality books. So I'll have to use them, and I want to use them. I actually want to start dabbling in watercolor a bit more, just for myself. And I feel like this kind of stuff is what I would go to. So there's those. So that is from Luchetti, True Flat Sketchbooks. And yeah, they make the coloring book as well. I think the coloring book will be back soon.
Jordan in the comments says drum leaf binding is the technique.
Drum leaf?
Drum leaf.
Drum leaf. Oh, there you go. Oh, that's cool. We'll have to look into that more. I'm curious. After my bookbinding thing, it's like, that's fascinating. I want to shift gears for a second here because this is just so unbelievably cute. Not really art related, more fidget fun. But this is one of many marmals, they're called. It's a cute little, this one's a hamburger, but you can remove the feet, you can add stuff to them, and you can actually color them in with pencils. And it works really well, but then you can easily like wash it off again. So you can decorate them with basically anything. I haven't tested them yet. I kind of don't want to now because I don't want to, I don't have any good pencils with me, and I want to like do it properly when I do it. I think he said, maybe I need to look it up, but I'm pretty sure they take alcohol markers as well. I'll have to have a look. Maybe we can have a play with that at some point. But to amplify the cuteness, and there's a lot of different characters, and some have arms and stuff as well. I may have a little bit begged the guy to let me have this one because he wasn't giving them away, and I was like, please, it's so cute. But you know what else he gave me, which is adorable? Look at this cute little box, and inside the box is cute little shoes. So we just switch out the feet for these adorable shoes. And now he's cool. So, cute little character there. And it's very like, I don't know, ooh, didn't know that would happen. very fidget toy friendly. Like, I just kind of want to play with it. And so there's that, but it gets even cuter because I have a marble beanie. So this is not art related at all, except that you can draw on it. So I guess it is art related. It's mostly just adorable. Let's put his little... the beanie basically covers his entire head. That's pretty cute. So meet little Marmal. I have to add him to the set. I need to colour him in though first, I think. There he is. He's cute. And his feet are like oranges or something. So
it reminds me of that Toy Story potato.
Mr. Potato Head.
Mr. Potato Head, where you can like just pull him apart and customize him.
This just feels... It's kind of not squishy, but it's quite a like weird surface as well. Can you give me a top camera for a sec? There you go. There's my little Marmal friend. Looking good. Whoops, there goes his hat. Sorry, Burger Man. So very cute. It's worth having a look on their website because this was not even the cutest one. There were actually a few other ones that other people had already got dibs on. But very, very cute. I actually want to get these, Shane, for our kids. I think they'd love them. And because then they can colour them their own way. So you, Mr.
Do you actually want to get them for our kids or for somebody else?
Well, I mean, yeah. I get one for me, one for them. Of each particular thing. So that's the Marmals. I'll put the rest of that away. Okay, I tried to put everything in bags to help us keep track, but it means I'm also very aware of how much is left versus how much I've actually gone through. Now, graphics. Graphics, this one's going to be a little bit more of a discovery thing, and we probably need more time on this in a future thing. But I met Shana from Graphics, and we spent a long time talking about the color cube and talking about the different things. And I've got some samples here because Graphics is the company that makes the really cool clear paper. And by that I mean a clear surface that works with pencils and works with other things. So that really opens up different like mixed media opportunities. And I used that a while ago to remake my coloring page that I then put lights behind, the lantern. So I have got from them a bunch of their other products and just little samples of each, but I'll be honest, I don't even know what a lot of these things are. So this feels like one of those things that I need to explore over time. So what I have for now to show you is we can have a quick look at each because these are the different ones that they've given me that I don't think I've tried yet. And there's a lot. But then I've also got little example things here that explain what they are and how they work. So I thought we could quickly have a look at these very quickly together. And I think then, I just didn't realize how much stuff they made. So there's a lot here. But the Duralar is the main one that I have used. And there's actually different types of it here. But see how it's like a really thin, just clear paper. But I don't have pencils here, but I do have alcohol markers. I think it can take alcohol markers quite well. I wonder if I can do a little, maybe not so. It's almost like a Yupo paper for them, so maybe not. But it's not like a plastic. So it's come up. So that would be really interesting for like layering on a page. Imagine doing like a coloring page where you covered the page with a bit of this and then colored in a section and then take it off. Oh, I want to do that actually. I might see if I can get some big sheets of this and play around with it. I think I do have some big sheets of one of them. I don't know which one. But they have the clear one, and then they have this sort of more opaque one, and then they have just thicker versions. And then this gets really thick at the back. It's like I can't even flick that at the back. So they have a lot of different versions of that, which is cool. So that's that one. This one is the same thing, except that they have designs already on them. This is a bit like that, those mixed media papers that we just looked at. Not for transfer, but like to just add art onto your thing. So it's cool. I wonder if you may actually be able to print on this as well. No, that's what this is, I think. Again, maybe someone else might know a bit more about these, and this is me just trying to show you what's here. But this one, I believe you can put in your printer. I have to give that a go. Probably not on something this small though. I need to try the bigger ones. But let's have a look. So this one is Durabright White. That's their paper, I believe. No, that is heavyweight opaque film. But that says watercolor, alcohol, ink, sprays, and acrylic. So that's cool. The drafting film, I don't think I have here. What else have we got here? Nib. I think that is a double-ended tool, so I don't have that. The masking is another, it's a latex mask. I don't have that. I'm more focused on, I just grabbed all their stuff. Oh, the frisket. This is the stuff that actually is why I first discovered them. It was what I used ages ago when I did the diamond painting on a coloring page, I believe. Or if you're around there, I did like background tricks. And I used this, and it kind of like, it's very like low tack, and so you stick it down on your artwork, but then it removes really easy, so you can mask things off. So I bought a bunch of this, and then I lost it, and I don't know where it's gone, but I would like to buy more because it was a lot of fun and really easy to use. I've tried using different masking techniques in the video where I tried this, and this was for me the easiest. All the different like pens and stuff with masking fluid, I found just ripped up a lot of the paper, probably not using them correctly. This was really easy to use, so I really liked it, and I did buy more, and then I lost it all. I don't know where it is. It's probably somewhere here. I have gone looking for it a few times. Oh, then the shrink film, which I do have here. This is for making Shrinkadinks. So this is where you can, and look, they have all these different options for this as well, all colors and everything. So you draw on this, and then you heat it up and it shrinks down. So you can make really cute little things from the shrink film. A lot of people that probably know what that is. I've never tried it, but I've seen them. So I understand the concept. That's the same one, but different. Oh, and it's inkjet printable. So this one you can print on and then do that. So imagine doing like a coloring page and then coloring it in and then shrinking it down to being like a little, that's cool, to make a keychain or something. I think that's the most of these. The others are just different kinds of, so they do a lot of like masking things and a lot of just different variations of clear films that you can put on stuff. So this one is cling film that sticks by static. So that's cool. So I wonder if that's, again, just like, I think that's almost, it reminds me of like a, again, just like masking stuff. So that would be interesting to use. And then they have 3D plastics. So it's a whole variation. I didn't realize they had so many different types of different transparent things and adhesives that allow you to do a lot. This is my collection of samples I'm gonna have to play with, and I probably will at some point reach out to them once I work out what I want and see if I can get some bigger sheets to test out and we can actually do something cool. But that is graphics, G-R-A-F, are they written on here? Here we go, graphics. So that you can look them up if you're interested in any of those, because I was very keen to go back and see what they do. I remember a few years ago when I saw them, that was one of the things that I came away with most excited about. Going to move on to Legion quickly, because actually, ironically, I have a Legion pad right next to me here, because this is probably, at this point, my favorite 100% cotton paper that exists. I have so many pads of this in different sizes, and this is actually what Shane's been using to, oh, random Barbie thing. This is what Shane's been using to swatch out the supplies as we start loading them into our Color Companion website. So, but they have sent me some other little samples here that we are going to use over time because I just like all their stuff. So good excuse to get some more Yupo paper. If you don't know, Yupo paper is what you can create alcohol art with. So when you draw on this, it just kind of pulls and you can spray it down and wet it and move it around, and it creates those beautiful like fluid alcohol ink paintings that people make. Yupo paper is what works the best for that. So Stonehenge Yupo is great. This one is a aqua cold press and an aqua hot press and a black. Is that the same as that? Yes, somehow I ended up with a few of those. So they're watercolor papers. They have a cold press and a hot press, and then they have a black watercolor paper that is a cold press and a hot press, and they are just really nice. So that's the cold press. That's the hot press. It's so smooth. I love hot press paper. That's probably my favorite. Cold press is the paper that has a bit more grain, so that's really good for like good watercolor. Hot press can still be used on watercolor, but it's my favorite for pencils. And then the black is, I guess, just a black watercolor paper is something that still feels a bit foreign to me, but there's a black cold press and the black hot press. So these are just really high quality paper. From what I understand, they are working to come into Australia soon, which is exciting for me because whenever I go over to the US, I stock up on this exact one. This is, what is it? 100% cotton. I don't think it's specifically hot press. It's just 100% cotton. It's just the Stonehenge white. And it's like my favorite go-to paper that I end up using over and over. So I have one in this size. I have another one that happens to be right here in a completely different shade. I have like 2 smaller ones in this, and I have one that's like this big. It's become my favorite paper. So I don't know if it is the best paper out there. I just know for me, I keep coming back to it over and over and over. So I really like the Legion paper. So the black range, I don't know if it's new, but it's definitely interesting. I had this out so that I could use it if I needed to sample things, but we've been racing through, so I haven't actually done much sampling. This is from Sharpie. So let's have a look in here. So Sharpie, you may have already seen their the paint pen markers that we tested in a video where this is different. These are not supposed to be in here. Whoops. These are my we made little badges. Yay! We made little badges that I was giving out at the event. Haven't really worked out what we're gonna do beyond that, but they're cute, right? What I will do actually at the moment, I am putting together some gifts for our members that are in the teal tier, our top paying loyal members. I'm going to throw some of these into the gifts that I'm preparing for them at the moment. So teal, you'll get your own little color cube, and then we'll work out what we're going to do for everyone else after that. They won't, I'll put them over there. Haven't made a plan yet for those, so early sneak peek, whoops. What I do have from the Sharpie, so I actually have a bigger tub here because I did stock up, and I, again, was going to send some of these to our teal members. I got a lot of their samples, just trying to help them clear out at the end. I've got more of the big ones, and they have brought out a lot more colors since I had these personally. But I also have, so they've brought out a lot more colors, but they've also changed the brush tip now. Now, this to me looks like a cotton core tip now, whereas the previous one was a direct ink, and I don't love that if they've made that change, but it might just be that they've changed the barrel. Maybe I should grab one of my old ones that I've got behind me to compare. But they've also brought out, and this is really cool actually, they've also brought out this fine tip one, which I didn't have when I did the comparison. So just to show you quickly, just a random, this is just cardstock. They've brought out a lot more colors, which is really cool, but the fine tip is actually really good. There's not many paint markers that have a fine tip like this. So actually I was very excited to try these. Especially for coloring books, I think this is really cool. But I do like that they have a lot more colors. So I've now got all these fine tip ones. I don't probably have a full set, although I do have a pretty big range. This is the brush tip. I want to compare that brush. Give me 1 second to grab behind me here my original stash because I'll show you what I mean when I say the tips are different. This is one of the original ones, and this is one of the new ones. Okay, I like that they've added, actually, I just noticed, I like that they've added this little blue bit on the bottom, and it's possible that this is just in here, although the shape is different. Maybe I have to cut one apart because I actually really want to know, but maybe not right now. Oh, no, that's different. Look at that. So that is a much wetter paint in comparison. This actually might be more opaque, but this feels more like a cotton core, whereas this is the direct ink. So I feel like I need to kind of retest these to add to my test. In saying that, these are not the only paint markers that I've picked up, so there might just be some more testing that I have to do in general, because there is a lot more. Let me put these away. A lot more paint markers that have come out since my paint marker video, just to be, you know, obviously it's a personal attack on me personally. No, there's a lot of brand. What excites me is that when I did that acrylic marker video, and if you haven't seen it, it's on my YouTube channel. It was fairly recent, where I compared every acrylic marker that I could find, and one of the comments that I made in there was how weird it was that a lot of the traditional brands hadn't really kept up with the new technology. And so as a result, a lot of the white label brands from China performed better than the brands that make paint for a living. When I was at NAMTA, I actually spoke to a lot of the brands about this and ended up with a few of them showing me that they were working on new paint pens. So some of them I don't have because it was like an early look, but I do have, what do I have? I have Meeden. So Meeden actually, they were at the event, but they sent me some stuff before the event and I had a brief chance to look at them. I don't want to open these now, but they did send me a whole bunch of soft body acrylic paints when we were, when I was at the event. But what I wanted to show you is that they also, before the event, sent me their new paint markers, because the paint markers that I tested, in fact, Shane, can you pass them? They're over there. The paint markers that I tested in the video for Meeden didn't do well. He's got them here. All right, these are this set that I tested, and I didn't know they had other ones available at the time. I don't know if they're more recent or if I just missed them. But these are like the classic paint pen Posca style. And I just found that like they were really underwhelming and scratchy and just not that good. So Meeden didn't do that well on the paint marker test. These new markers and these new markers are completely different and actually change the game for me, to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna have to do another video, not just for this, but for the multiple brands that are showing up and are improving it, which is actually exactly what I hoped for from that video. And not saying that they saw the video, their stuff has been released too quickly, but the fact that at the same time that I was identifying there's a big gap in the market, they've all been actively trying to fill that gap. So there's a lot of room for new brands and new markers that are coming out and are really good. So Meeden have two different types of markers that I've got here. These ones, what are these ones? I think these are not really shake, but I think these were a direct, no, these are a cotton core, I think. No, they can't be cotton core because I can hear them. These I need to test a bit more. So there might be some more testing to come on these. They look like there's probably something more going on in here, but the opacity of these and the brush tip is so much better than what I previously had. And I like the packaging actually. Oops, with these. That one smells a little bit. I don't love that it smells, because that's something that most of the acrylic markers don't have. So this set does have a smell, but the performance of them is a lot better. And so I actually really want to take them through a lot of those tests that we did and see how they would rank. But the set that's really caught my attention even more is this set. Now, I have to say, after using them for a little while, I actually don't love this packaging. I know there's a few brands that are gone for this and it looks pretty, but when I want a color, I have to sit on the side looking through the plastic and go, which it looks easier on the camera, right? Work out which one I want and then come around and work out, okay, so if I want to get into this one, I have to disconnect the one above it. And then you have to tilt it up. Like, it's not too bad and it looks pretty, but it doesn't really appeal to my just grab it and go mentality. So I'm not a big fan. Not saying that, like, it's beautiful packaging. It's just personal preference, really. These are a double-sided marker, and all of the double-sided markers, except for one or two that I tested in my video, were cotton core and weren't very good. This is a direct ink double-sided marker, and there are only a few of the brands that I've ever seen do this, and every time someone's done it, they've ended up being really good. So these, the paint, I'm not demoing well there because I'm kind of, that's actually not a great one. Well, there you go. The first one I tried was amazing. I probably haven't actually given them enough time because they've been sitting here and I haven't tested them yet. Okay, so the tips, really nice to work with. The brush doesn't collapse. It's a stronger brush, which is something that I found even my winners, I really didn't like their brush tip at the end. But they also have that bullet, which is a nice fine line to do coloring with. And because it's kind of soft, it's a soft bullet, you can easily do the dots, so you don't need a dot pen, but it also colors in big sections really easily and can layer, which the traditional paint pens can't do that. They're really just not designed for paper. So I actually feel like from a first impression, being not just now, but when I tried these recently, if I had tested these in my paint marker video, it's quite possible they would have ended up in the top 10. possibly even higher. Without doing all the tests, I can't really say much further, but I have been really impressed with them, and I kind of wish that I had them when I did the video. But I guess it's a good excuse to do a follow-up video at some point. I am going to wait for a few other markers that I know are in production from some other brands that I can't necessarily say, but I want to make sure that we get all of those so that we can test them all and do an updated video at some point with all the new brands, because there's actually quite a few. So that's the stuff from Meeden. I'm just going to push these back there. They also sent me, they also just gave me, not sent me. So some of the big things was sent the week before I went away, but they also at the event just gave me some of these professional watercolors, which I haven't tried yet. I'm probably not during this video going to unpack and try all the different watercolors unless we get time at the end, just because I know there's so much more here. And what's this? A brush. Let's have a look at the brush. Ooh. Oh, that's cute. It's interesting that it's in a, I thought it was going to be bigger because it felt big, but it's because it's in a thing. It's like layers and layers. Oh, this is like, what is that made out of? Does it say? No, it just says new tech, water collected soft strokes, no hair shedding. So I'm actually not sure, but I'm curious. I like this whole banded thing. That's interesting. I don't know what Meeden's paint supplies quality is compared to like an average thing. From my understanding, they sort of fit a bit more in the hobbyist and affordable range. But be curious to try these. We'll see at the end. I'll put these aside, and if we get time at the end, we'll have a quick look at them. Because I think there are some other watercolor paints that I want to explore too. So I'll put them over this side. Oh, Shane, how are we all going? Shane's trying to work out his microphone.
Pretty good. Yeah. Great.
Great. I missed a few things from Sharpie. They also, because Sharpie are actually owned by the same company that makes Prismacolor, and they also have a few other brands. This is just a fun little pack. What do we got? We've got the Prismacolor Premier markers. I'll be honest, not my favorite, but not bad. A few new, this is Papermate. So I haven't really gone into testing pens, but if you like, that's Papermate Flare, Sharpie Creative, which we have, and we've got just some glue sticks. Disappearing Purple and Blue. Sorry, Elmer's Glue. I also forgot to mention that I asked them very nicely for these, the Sharpie S-Gel pens, because one of these ended up in my office recently and I tried it and I was like, oh, whose pen is this? I think it's my favorite new pen. And so can't get that off. I asked them if I could have some, and they've got a few different options and a few different designs. This one's actually just a ballpoint pen, but it's so smooth. I love it. I love how smooth it is. So I've been looking for a good black pen for a while. Until now I've been using these, which we have an excessive amount of. They're Papermate, which is actually, now that I realize, is also, Papermate is also the same brand. There you go. Well, I don't like these ones because what happens is every time I push too hard, it breaks this permanently and it never recovers. So I have a whole bunch of broken versions of this, and it writes well, but it's just like a ballpoint pen. Whereas this is slightly more, it's a ballpoint pen, but it's slightly more gel-like, which is probably why it's called S-Gel. And then if I can get this new bit off this one, they're just nice. So I think I'm going to, from now on, buy these, at least for me and for the team if anyone wants them, because it just writes so smooth and makes you want to write faster. And I really like them. So I was happy to get a few, but I think I'm going to have to buy a lot because I lose a lot of pens. So I'm going to probably have to buy a pack of like 20, and then a few weeks later another pack of 20, because that's how much are these pens. So thank you, Sharpie, for sending those. I did talk to the team at Prismacolor, and I was a bit confused by the information they gave me. So you kind of have to take this with possibly misinterpreted, but I was given the impression that they have improved the breakage of their pencils in the last year or so, which I was like, tell me more, because I love my Prismacolors, but they break a lot. the whole second set I bought were basically all broken when I bought them. That was really frustrating. And I know a lot of people have the same issue.
When they say improve the breakage, maybe they meant improved it so that it's like more broken.
Don't say that. But I would like to see better Prismacolors. So I was like, that's great. But then as we kept talking, it became unclear to me if they were trying to tell me that the Prismacolor Scholar range had been updated and the Scholar range are a bit firmer and so therefore they're less likely to break than the Premier, or if they were telling me that they've updated the Premier. So I'm actually reaching out to them and asking them for clarification and asking me to send some, if that's the case, of like, show me that the new Prismacolors are better if you think so, because that for me would be worth a live stream in itself of like, Prismacolors don't break anymore. I don't know if I believe them. I would like to believe them because I do really like their pencils, but the track record of fixing them, I don't know. We'll see. So I'm keen to hear from them and hopefully we have some good news.
In the chat, Crystal has said that she loves the Sharpie S-Gel pens too. My only issue is they seem to run out of ink fairly quickly. I don't think we have pens around long enough to run out of ink.
I lose them before they run out. What I do is I lose my pens. So then I go, Holly, do you have a pen? Will, do you have a pen? Shane, do you have a pen? And then I lose their pens as well. So my thing in our office is rather than everyone trying to keep track of their pens, I was like, can we just buy more pens? Because they eventually show up. And the other day I cleaned out my office and look how many of the Papermate pens I found, because I actually did clean up and I found them all. See? I've been looking for these for ages. They were in my side drawer the whole time. And I look in the side, there's another one.
Are they all broken?
Maybe. They kind of, it's that they split at the joint at the bottom. That's the problem. Once they split, it then, these ones probably haven't been used enough to break. None of them look broken. There's also a Rogue, whoops, that one's probably broken now. There's also a Rogue Bic in here. That one was decent. Bic Gelosity. That was pretty good actually. Although it's a bit more, probably because it's a bit older. Train tracks, they call them, when it like streaks a little bit. It might be because it's old, so don't take that as a review. Time to move on. What other fun things do we have? I have... Okay, while we're on paint pens. One of the paint pens that I brought up in my paint video was the Copic, right? And the Copic only come in the really fine tip and only come in a few colors. And I really liked them, but I couldn't get my hands on a white. So I went to the Copics. There was a lot of, it sounds like I've just like gone and scabbed from all these brands. It's not really how this worked, but I was very polite and was like, look, if you're happy, can I maybe have this one thing? So I did get my hands on the Copic Acrylic White, and I really wanted this because I've done a white pen comparison and discovered that sort of generally speaking, acrylics are better than gels for most things actually. On alcohol markers, I think gel pens are actually pretty good. I'll come to that in a minute. But the Copic Acrylic is like the most opaque white that I think I've come across, because I used it once when Kat was visiting and we did a live stream together and we drew the beautiful eye with the alcohol markers, and she let me borrow her Copic Acrylic. None of the sets that I can buy in Australia, and I did go down to the art shop, which I know is one of Kat's favourite places as well, and we went down there, and even they didn't have the white because Copic wouldn't sell the white. So I got myself a white. I've now heard apparently that they probably are going to be available in Australia, so we'll see. Hopefully the art shop will get some as well, because I feel like this is one I'm going to use a lot. I should open it and show you actually, because the problem is I kind of want to show it on another thing rather than just on other paint markers to show you how opaque it is. It's not very opened very well, but that'll do. Oh, hang on, I have to load this one. So the one thing about the Acrylic is that they do tend to, like most fine tips, they will eventually block if you don't clean them. So from what I hope I'm not saying this wrong, I believe they now also sell new tips separately because they realized that was happening for a lot of people. And they're bringing out new colors. So here is, just so you know, this is their little document page information thing. these are the different colors that they have. And then these are the new colors they're bringing out, which is really cool. And then here's actually a sample where they've actually done the different colors on the test here. So you can actually see how opaque they are. So let me just load that. Oh, loads very quickly. So, I mean, they've already done a sample here. And this is actually not great card because it's a bit glossy. So it's kind of pulling it a bit. But look how opaque that is. That's just on other paint. But that's like crazy. I need, what do I need to do this on? Where's that coloring book that I just had? The big flat lay one. Where did I put that, Shane? Do you know? The flat lay, I think I put it in here. Oh, let's use it in action. Because in this page that I did in here, the big one, you can always add more white dots. There's no shortage of adding white sparkles. Actually, this is a good page to do it. So the dots that I've already done here, I can't remember which marker I used, but this is pretty common with most markers where I actually had to do a second layer. So let's see in comparison if we just do some dots with the Copic white, and we'll give it a second to settle. Let me do it inside these dots so that we have sort of a bit more of a reference. And maybe I can even just do little stars. Because for most things, they eventually soak in, like these ones here. So if I just give that a second to dry, and we'll see, does it soak in the same way? Because from my memory when we did it with Cat, this actually sits way more opaque on top of the art than any other paint pen. So they haven't been that long yet. Let's just give it a minute and we'll find something else to look at while we wait, because I think that's a good idea. But if so, this becomes just the perfect highlight pen. The other pens that I have been using, again, more of, which I think are over here. I didn't put them back because I was using them. Ugh. So again, that set of Meaden pens, that white pen has become a bit of my go-to recently for using that. I also really like the Enemy white. They were pretty good. But I have actually gone back to the jelly rolls. So I got some more jelly rolls at NAMTA, and they now have this one, which is a clicky one. Now, I'm not sure that I like that, because when I see this lid, my instinct is to try and pull the lid off. So I don't know, that's for me, but if you're someone who would prefer that instead of a lid, Jelly Roll now has that. So that's the size 8. But these are the ones that I used to use all the time, and I stopped using them because most of my work is in colored pencils, and Jelly Rolls jam up on colored pencils. But using them in alcohol markers, they've been really good to use again. So I'm happy to get some fresh ones, because the other ones I have are probably 7 years old now. But look at this. That white does not need a second layer at all. You can see here in this balloon, I don't know how much you can tell, but like that one there is one of the new ones. Down here, the one there is a new one. The ones beside it is the other marker, and that had, I don't think that had 2 layers, it's just the other marker. This is more opaque, not this one. This is more opaque. It's quite possible that this is the most opaque white paint marker that I've ever come across. I need to test them to be sure, but from just current experience, I do think this might be the most opaque marker ever. Thank you, Will, for the coffee. I got a new mug. Look at this one, isn't it cute? It looks like it's ready to be coloured in. And it's kitties, cats. What was I trying to say? I don't know if you can see it on the other camera better, or if it's just better here. I'm just showing off my mug. It's just from Kmart. It's nothing special, but it is special because it's adorable. All right. So moving on from our white, I did also get a new Copic multi-liner. I do want to actually at some point stop and compare all the different black pens, because I know that most people just revert to the Micron, and the thing that, and I guess it's for the same for most of these, I kind of wish that there was something that was like a fine tip like this, but was a bit softer, because I tend to write quite fast, and so the firmer tips, I find they get really rough and scratchy really quickly. So I do find that's a little bit hard to kind of, I don't know. I don't know if Micron is the best for me or not. But in saying that, somewhere here, I did get some new Micron pens that were recyclable now, or they were from recycled materials, is what I should be saying. Is that what's down here? Let's have a look.
I'm pretty sure you gave one of them to me, didn't you? The green ones.
Yes, but I have a few others. How are you finding it, Shane? How are you finding it as someone who's using it at the moment?
They're all right for ruling lines, but
but when it comes to writing, they're not really a writing pen.
no. And like I've ruled lines on maybe about 5 pages, and it is starting to sort of, I don't know. Like I don't use fine liners, so I don't know how long they're supposed to last. But yeah.
I'm going to just move some of these in here so I know what's left. Okay. Ooh, these ones. Okay. This is a fun one. This is from a company called For Art's Sake. It's a small business. Nell is the artist, and they make stickers. But when I say stickers, I don't just mean stickers. I mean they make adorable, hand-drawn, really cute stickers. But these are vinyl stickers, which means for some of them you can color them in, but you can put these on a drink bottle and it will still be, they're a decal, right? So I believe they are dishwasher proof even. Oh, I was talking to them about this. Why don't I remember? There was a lot of information all at once. They're waterproof stickers, right? So you can put them on something like a drink bottle and it doesn't matter if it gets wet and it won't come off. And I believe that she was showing me there's one that she put in the dishwasher many, many times and it was still okay. So I picked a few little hand ones. I love the style of art that she's doing where it's like, it's still a bit sketchy, but it's something you can color in. I really like that. So there's a few different color in ones here. She also has this little series that she did say was inspired by the Color Cube that are famous paintings with the color palettes. So I thought that was kind of cute. So a few different ones there. So with the color in ones, you can use alcohol-based markers to color them in and they will survive. And then I really like these cute little ones as well, the Hello. I actually got this specific one because I wanted to get a blank mug and just put this on a mug. So imagine this on, not this mug, bad example, but just this on a mug. That I thought that would be really cute. So that's why I got that one. Or maybe one of the Hello at ones, Hello I Am, would be a good option. But they are a lot of fun, and yes, they are a small business, and it's all hand-drawn, which is wonderful because in this day and age, you just never know. So this is the company. They're called For Art's Sake, and these are just the stickers that I picked out because I thought they were so cute. So you might find one of these on a mug in some future videos, but that is For Art's Sake. Beautiful company. So the show specials aren't really relevant here. But yeah, so I'll put them away. And then, should I show them what I stuck down to something technically? Shay, what do you think? Shane's favourite thing of the event.
Nah.
No? You want to keep that secret all to yourself? There are still some very big things that I couldn't fit on the table, so there's a few more things here. Just while we're still thinking about paint markers, I did get, and I haven't tried yet, Liquitex also have a new paint marker. That was another one that I was really disappointed in their markers and felt really bad going up to them going, yeah, I didn't like them. But they've got this new one, so this new set. So they've given me the 3 different monochrome. They didn't, most of these places didn't come to this event to give out samples. So the stuff that they have was just like a few here or there. I do have a white though, so that'll be good to test. But these are more like a classic marker again. Except I believe the tip, no, it's still a pretty firm tip. It doesn't feel as scratchy though. Oh, that loads really quickly. That's not the case for most classic pump ones. So that in itself is like already better. But that, now I remember, I don't have them nearby. That is beautiful opaque paint. What I do remember is the Liquitex set, one of the ones that I was the most disappointed with, because Liquitex should be able to make good paint, and the paint markers that I tried were incredibly runny and horrible. This is so much better. So while I only have the one color to test, and then I guess I could test the white quickly, or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll save this because what I want to do is do a proper test on them and a proper comparison. So loading them now, it's probably better to wait and load them later. Although we probably do want to know about the white, don't we? Let me just do the white, okay. Because it's hard to get a good white pen. White is the one color that I think Posca doesn't do well, even in their paint markers. And I spoke to them about that at this event, and they said that was actually feedback they heard from a lot of people, so they're going to pass that feedback on, which is really cool. Always big on brands that listen and pass feedback back to the top. That one's taking a little bit longer to load. Not a bad thing though, necessarily, because hopefully that means it's more opaque. I mean, first impression, that's pretty good. It's hard to compare. Like, I know the Posca white looks really good on some surfaces, but then you go and use it on like certain black paper, like the cotton paper, and it just soaks right in and disappears straight away. And I just realized I've made a mess. I'm sorry, Shane. The desk is covered in white. How did I do that? It's not leaking. Oh, leaking. That reminds me. Do we have the... we're going to do... Okay. Oh, you have one there. How did you have that there?
Because during your live stream...
Oh, I put it aside, right?
No, I grabbed one to try and...
Reach. Okay, so... one live stream... The last live stream we did, we were doing an unboxing of all of Ohuhu's new paint markers and everything. And these ones in particular, we opened them and things got a little bit messy. In my last live stream, these leaked straight away. And by that I mean, and I'm not going to recreate it, but you should go watch the stream. When I shook them for the first time, the paint came out the back end and it sprayed.
Well, that yellow post-it note that you've got there was my sort of...
The leakage. So I spoke to Ohuhu about this directly. I actually this was a bit of an interesting one because I went to the stand and I said to him, have you had any complaints about the spillage? And he's like, what are you talking about? We talked some more and I ended up picking up his and showing him, and the set that he was displaying, he then picked it up and tried to shake it. Let me tighten this so that I don't actually make a mess. He tried to shake it and there was a few leaks in the page and he's like, oh no, and he looks up at me and there was paint on his face. We replicated the problem, is what I'm going to say. It wasn't unique to my set. What was surprising is that they weren't aware of that problem, but then it happened right in front of him. So he has now taken that back to the top. Apparently that feedback has been passed on. They are very aware of what is going on. And what I did work out for anyone who is interested in these, basically the issue is happening if the cap isn't tight enough. So generally speaking, when they arrive, you assume the cap's going to be tight, and the only reason you should need to undo it is if you're refilling them. The thing is that with my set, when they all arrived, the cap wasn't fully tight, and I noticed that when we got them, that it was like, oh, should these be tighter? And if you actually go and tighten them, it fixes the problem. So I guess what I would say is if you are interested in buying the Ohuhu markers, what are they called? The Hanuama. They are really nice paint and they are refillable. But when you first buy them, check every marker before you shake them and tighten them as tight as you can, and then you'll probably be fine. There's no reason that it should leak if it's tight. I think some of them with pressure changes in delivery, maybe they're a little bit overfilled at first. I don't know, but whatever has happened, it's made the lids very slightly loosen, and there's actually just direct holes here. So when that spiral core, what do you call it? Like the screw, when that screw thing has become slightly loose, it just gives the paint a direct access exit. So tighten the pens and that will solve the problem. And look, they're now aware of the problem. I was told that the problem was sent to the top. So we'll see if they end up changing anything, or maybe when they arrive, they'll be tighter. But at least we have a solution. So if you are buying them, easy fix, tighten them. And now we know it wasn't just a dud set. It is actually a universal problem, it seems. So, but yeah, that's a lot of information on paint markers. And just to finish up on the paint markers, I did get a few things from Posca. Oh, see, another new one. So much has happened around the time of me releasing this video, and just Posca brush marker. I wish I had this to test when we were doing it. This is a brush marker in the traditional Posca, but it's not like the new direct ink. You actually do push on it. So it's a push brush marker, but it's a soft tip. So I don't know how well that lasts over time with the priming because of the way the tip is, but Posca does have a brush marker now. And that was one of the things I said at the end of the video. I wish that Posca would make a brush marker. So we'll see. Give it a second. I probably need to give it a bit more of a load up. So again, there are a lot of markers that I already need to test for another marker video, even just to compare them to what I've already done, because I do think that even what I chose as the best markers might not be the best markers when you actually bring more of these into consideration, plus the other ones that haven't even hit market yet that brands are working on. So this one's taking a long time to load, which hopefully means it's very opaque. It's almost there. But even already, like just feeling the brush, it's not as much of a brush as some of the others. It's almost more like a cross between a brush and a bullet. But the biggest difference is that it's not scratchy and it's not firm. So hopefully this also works better on paper, because I know the traditional pump ones don't necessarily work on paper. But this is, oh, that one's actually not as opaque. Maybe I didn't mix it enough. Not as opaque as I would have expected, but that's okay. It actually doesn't feel like a brush that much, but it is easy to work with. So yeah, I'll be curious to test them all, because again, this is just like a quick first impression, so it's obviously hard to say, but I'm excited that they exist. Because I thought that they had a brush set that had a thing at the back, because I have a black one that has that, and I was less excited about that. So this is quite different. But that's, and then I did also just get from them some mop ones, because they were like just happy to give them away, and I was like, sure. I haven't actually used them before. I do have a few. I think the Posca pencils, I have to say I love the Posca pencils. I need to get myself some more. And I got a cute sticker. Yay. And I just realized there's a note in here of someone I need to follow up to reach out to see if they're happy to send some more things. So I'm just going to chuck all these back in here. I know it's a mix of brands, but we'll figure that out later. That's a problem for afternoon Sarah. What's next? Oh, all right. Oh, I found the microns. So these are the new microns that are archival, but they also are recycled cases, which is nice. So this one is the, what size is this? The 3 and the 1. So I think I gave Shane the bigger one, which would have been the 5. These are much smaller tips. So very fine details. And actually this is less scratchy than what I remember my other microns being. I don't know if the microns that I have were maybe just old as well, because as much as this is a little bit scratchy, it does feel nicer than what I remember them feeling like. So I'm open to giving them another chance. We'll see, but it's cool to have some new pens to try.
What is it that you liked about the Posca pencils?
The Posca pencils are so creamy. I did actually review them, what, 2-3 years ago, and we did our pencil comparison. They're one of the ones that, I think I have them here. Oh, maybe not. No, they're not here. I've been resorting my drawers lately, so things have moved. The Posca pencils for me feel a bit towards the line of like Prismacolor, Holbein. They're that very sort of creamy, nice, almost buttery thing. They're not as like waxy as a Holbein, but they're a little bit creamier than a Prismacolor. The downside is they're not very light fast, but they're really just nice to use. I really like how they feel. I don't use them much at all because I only have like 6 colors. So otherwise I probably would use them. Maybe not as much as my Prismacolors, but I feel like they're just nice. They're hard to get here, that's the thing. But I think that's changing. I think like it used to be you could only like import them from Japan, but I do think that's changed. In the US, that's probably changed as well. They're probably a lot easier to get. So I'd love to get myself a bigger set of those to actually use them a lot more, because my small experience with them has been wonderful. That's empty. I did get, I'm not going to open these up, but I did get from Crink some, Crink does paints, and I did have some of their paint markers, but excluded them from my video because they are oil-based and alcohol-based. So I'm not going to open them because they really stink, but I do want to, at some point, learn how to best use them. This is, I believe their silver one, which is that. Like, these are more like graffiti level markers. So that's from Crink. probably less something that I would regularly use, but good high quality stuff. Who'll it do? Oh, this is maybe my most exciting thing out of everything because I obviously love Derwent. I have a lot of their products and I didn't really need samples because I have most of their products already. But there's one product that I have been wanting for a long time. And I was actually talking with, at the Derwent stand, they had an artist there. Her name was Lana Gloshhat, I think. Lana Gloshhat. She has her own YouTube channel and Instagram, and her pencil art is just unbelievably cool. So she was at the Derwent stand, and she was paint all over my arm, working with the Derwent Inktense, which I have, but what I don't have is the Inktense blocks. I have been wanting these for so long, and so she actually arranged for me with the Derwent team. This I didn't even ask for this. She arranged for me to get the sampler that she was using at the demo at the stand because she already has plenty of these herself. And when she found out that I didn't have them, she very generously organized that I could get the Inktense blocks. And I'm very excited about these because I've never, this would be a good excuse to pull out the watercolor book. I've never used the Inktense blocks. You know what? I do have a swatch decks here I can just play on because I do feel like this is worth stopping the video for a moment to just, because I've never ever used them. So these are the same finish as the Inktense pencils, but because they're a block, I believe you can almost treat them like a pastel, or maybe not, I don't know. But you can also like shave it off and just turn it into like a paint. So it's something that I have no idea how to use, but I'm excited to find out because they just look like they would be fun. I believe you can also just do, this is not how the swatch decks are supposed to be used, but let's just do it. Just play with them, yeah? They're so vibrant. I love how vibrant Derwent Inktense is. I actually really need to get out my pencils more because I do really, really enjoy using them. So, but these, they're almost more like crayons, but then I have my little Bunnings tub here with some water. Do I have a brush? I have, what's this? This is a square wash. Wash is watercolor, right? So that must be a watercolor brush that I've apparently never used. I don't even know where it came from. But look at how bright that is. Look at it. Ah! I love the Inktense. So bright. And the difference with an Inktense compared to like watercolor is the Inktense is like permanent. So once you wet it and activate it, it is wet. But then once it dries, you can't re-wet it. Whereas watercolor, you can reactivate it over and over and over. So it allows you to do different things with the both of them. And it means that you can like layer the Inktense in different ways to what you would layer the watercolor. Like in theory, I could probably put this on top of this and it's not going to blend, although what's underneath hasn't really been given a chance to dry. It's a bad example. We're gonna have to at some point. Let me play with these in my own time and get to know them. And then at some point we can do a live stream exploring some different water-based media like watercolor and Inktense and really just play because I'm excited to play with these. These are gonna be fun. Oh, what's the thank you for?
We have a super chat from Joshi.
Ah,
so thank you for that.
Thank you. Very nice. Was there a comment with that or fun sticker or? I can't see the comments.
There was a popcorn emoji.
Well, I'm all here for popcorn. Okay, so there's not much left. Kind of saving the best till last, I think, a little bit here. So we'll come back to some of that stuff in a minute. I do have a few little things we'll go through quickly because I'm aware that we are sort of going a bit over time here already. But I do want to show you. So here I have, there was a company that makes modeling clay. So here are just some little samples from them. This one is, I believe, an air dry clay, which it never occurred to me that, the kids get air dry clay from school. It never occurred to me that it would actually be used properly for like art and stuff. So that's shiny and it's always got like a mica pearlescent thing. And then this one is again like a completely different thing on top. I don't know if that's in the clay or if that's coated. It looks like, I'm gonna pull this off and have a look on the back.
I love how the minute you mentioned clay, Aussie Crafter jumped in the chat.
She knows. Well, maybe she can tell us if she's ever come across this brand. Okay, that is the clay underneath. But yeah, it's a brand of modeling clay. I didn't get to spend a lot of time with them. I kind of just stopped by briefly. It's something I'd like to look at more in the future. I'm also not the person. Aussie Crafter is the person to go to for clay advice. I don't know what I'm doing. But that's something fun that I would like to have a look at more. So there's a few little samples from them. I also then did visit the Stabilo shop. And I got myself the more of the little woodies. I only have one of these so far, and I don't really know what to do with it, but they do seem kind of fun for more like mixed media.
My problem with them is they just don't look like they're thick enough.
I think, like, I wouldn't use them for colouring, but I feel like, because these are also, I believe, watercolour, multi-coloured pencil, watercolour, wax crayon, all in one. So you can actually use them as a watercolor thing as well, which is kind of cool in itself. And I feel like that's more interesting, using them more for mixed media rather than they're not going to work for detail. They're too chunky for that. But I feel like for like mixed media and just like covering big areas, like what people do with crayons, these could be really good at that. And they did have some that I didn't have any samples available, but that actually have 2 different colors on the end. And I don't know where I stand on things that have 2 colors in the one product, because often it just kind of looks messy. But I did have a little play with them at the stall, and I was like, actually, I could see myself using these. So that's something that will kind of be going into my stash for when I'm just playing and having fun with art. I also have some various little paints, and so we might maybe have, it's the problem when they make them so pretty like this. There is so much paint in this one little sample, but it's also so pretty. But no, I think we should open some of these and compare, and I have a few other sort of paints. So let's have a look. We'll leave that till the end, because I also have, what's else in my box here? Let's have a look. My box. I got given a lot of gifts from some of the other creators. I do want to show you briefly a few of them, just because they're wonderful people. So this was a little bag I got from Sarah's Create Studio, also known as the other Sarah Clark. You can find her on Instagram, YouTube. Most of these people you can find on Instagram, YouTube. Sarah's Create Studio. She has lots of like just little, what they do is they pack these little things that have like ibuprofen and hand sanitizer and then just some fun little art. This one she has like some different things that she's made in here, and good just like little, oh, this was one she was trying to explain to me what it was. Like just fun, like a real card. Like it's not a, it's like an actual, what do you call it? Like a card. My words are gone. You can see what it is, but she explained here what it was from. So this information talks a little bit about it's actually from a factory, and it's the actual stamp card from a factory. So just a cool thing that's like vintage. So that's all from Sarah. Then I also have one from Ellie Mae, who has created, I'm trying to be aware of, I don't know if some of this stuff is not supposed to be shown publicly, so I'm trying to be respectful of that. But this is a cute little one that she made. So in fact, here's her details in the back, so you can have a look. Ellie Mae, she does a lot of like stuff with cricket and a lot of different art forms as well. So there's one of hers, and she's also made this cute little, these are cute because they're about NAMTA, so they're fun. And there's a few other little things in here as well. So that's from Ellie Mae. And then I have, this one's quite big, although I think all the things have fallen out of it. Cassie has this cool new logo that she's put on this wonderful little bag. So Cassie was in my mixed media video, and the bag is empty, which means all the things have fallen out. I'm sorry, Cassie. But this, what was this for? She showed me. It's like a little pouch.
Is it an eye mask?
No. I think, now, I might be wrong on this, but I think this is supposed to be like a journal thing that you put your pencils in. See that? Maybe? That's what I'll be using it for. That's from Cassie. There was more in this bag, and it's gone. Like, I think there's like pink pens and stuff like that. I'm sorry, Cassie. It's all fallen out. And then I also have, was it this one? Oh, Lollipalooza had a little bag of goodies as well. Some of these also just had like chocolates in them that I've already eaten. So I have a pen left from what Lolly gave me. And Lollipalooza, here you go. Here's, because I do want to make sure that you get a chance to see what they do. So you can grab these QR codes and scan. This one is for Lollipalooza. You can look her up there. That's her channel. Can you see that clearly? And then there's a QR code, so you can look her up. I have another little, I feel like there's more that I've lost in my travels that I may have missed. So I do apologize if anyone else gave me things that I have accidentally lost. I got this cute little bag from Faber-Castell that I just got because it was cute, not because it's useful for anything in particular. But handy little travel case. It doesn't fit much. It's oh, it would fit a pen. I just liked it. I thought it was adorable. In fact, I think it's supposed to go like that, isn't it? I'm not really sure. It feels like it's supposed to go like that, but then the zipper, anyway, not important. And then I have some more watercolors that we should try here. So these are from Tiffany Ascencio Designs. It's a little bit hard to read her thing there. So Tiffany Ascencio, ASCENSIO, designs.com. So that is from our wonderful creator friends. And then I got to meet Dawn and her wonderful family from a company called Fashion Hues. It's spelt not how it sounds. But at the end of the event, they came to visit me and they gave me all of these wonderful little paints. There's so many in here. They shouldn't have given me all these. But in fact, let me find a way. Whoa. Yeah, so there's a lot here. So these paints, now so the company that they have, and I might get this wrong, so please forgive me if this isn't exactly right. They were a ceramics company, so I believe the first intention of these was to be used on ceramics, but from what she said, they're actually pretty multi-purpose. So this says, this is a metallic opaques, the luminescent range. Maybe antiqued with translucent colors, dry brushed or thinned with water for a color wash. So they are, I think, intended for ceramics. But from what she said, and I've lost the brochure, not doing great with there's a lot of stuff here to keep track of. But it's worth checking out their website. Let me put these out. You can kind of see the names of them on here. And if there's any that I can open one or two just to see what they are. She did say you could use them on other things as well. I'm sure their website will have a lot more information about what else they work on and what the paints are actually made of, but they are designed primarily for clay. So, oh, look at that one, that looks fun. White pearl. I also like the look of marshmallow. Marshmallow and white pearl, slightly different, but you probably can't tell the difference on the camera. So there's lots of really cool different colors here. This might be something that, so here I'm torn. I would like to give some of these to our Till members to try out, but it means giving some of them up for myself and then I won't have all the colors. But I don't know if this is all the colors or if there's more. I'll have to have a look. So yeah, lots of different ones. I kind of want to, let me just grab just a random bit of pad from our paper here. And let's just try one, because these do look like bubble gum. I want to see if that shininess is actually in the paint. Whoa. That is like, I don't know what the word is, lush. There's a slight smell to them, but if they're a ceramic paint, then that would make sense. Oh, but wow, they work well on paper. Look at that colour.
To move up a little bit.
Wow, and that's like sparkly. I wonder how that dries. Let's give it a sec to dry. There is a bit of a smell to them, but that's probably because they're intended for ceramics. Whoa, look at those colors. All right. I think I'm definitely going to have to play with these a bit more at some point because they're pretty cool. And I guess when I finally dabble in ceramics, I've got plenty to test with them. Oh, I just love the... I'm not really someone who's into sparkly for the most part, but this is the kind of thing that would win me over. Maybe I just haven't experienced enough sparkly to understand how wonderful it can be. Because they are really nice.
You know what you could do with that? Dip your hamburger guy's head in it. Be like hydro dipping, but...
Yeah, look at that sparkle. I don't know if you can see that well. They're pretty nice. I'm not someone who paints a lot, and so I don't really have like a point of reference to compare. But my first experience, I like them. So that's those. That's a lot. All right, let's pop them back in their tub.
Do they dilute?
It does say, it says they can be thinned with water for a colour wash. So I would say they can be diluted because they're pretty strong. You wouldn't need them to be this strong. What I'll do as well, just for reference, just so that you can look them up if you're interested, is just right on here. It's fash and, oh, the EN actually might be a separate word. So fash and here's the, that's how you'll find them. I don't know if it's one word or 3 words, but you'll find it with that. So they are very exciting to have a bit more of a look at, which brings us almost to the last things on my list. I do want to have a look at these watercolors, so we'll come back to them in a second. And then on this other side here, I have my coffee that I keep forgetting to drink. And then I have something special that I made. I got to make something. So we've been talking to X-Tool, and X-Tool were at this event, and I got to see all of their machines, and I kind of really want a laser cutter. But one of the machines they have, which we were thinking about getting, and now I'm probably not thinking about getting because it was quite big and I wouldn't use it enough, is a fabric printer. Now, when I show you this, you might very much want a fabric printer because I kind of did as well. And it was so fast. But it's a very big machine. So I won't be getting a fabric printer. However, if you're someone who's like doing it as like selling stuff, this would be amazing. This is my first kind of merch, I guess, right? I gave them just a photo on my phone that I had of this design that I did. It was about 1/4 of this size when I did it. And I did with the Olo alcohol markers on one of my own coloring pages. And they put it in the printer and just printed it straight on a transfer and then used just a heat iron to put it on this. And the quality of the thing is just so good. Like, if you're wanting to do apparel and like printing your own products, this seems like the way to do it. This thing only took, I would say, maybe 10 minutes to print. I might be remembering that wrong. Again, my reference of time and distance is strange at times. I'm not very consistent with my numbers that I give people. But this was quicker than I thought it would be, and the qualities are really good. I think for me, the reality is that I don't do much with fabric, so it sort of wouldn't be a good fit for us because you do need to use it fairly regularly to keep the machine working, but it's cool, and I like that we now have this cool tote with a design on it. And it kind of makes me want to do merch, and I don't know, maybe think about whether we want to make some t-shirts or some fun things, and whether it is with this whole dopamine colouring designs that we've been doing lately. So curious to hear what you think. Maybe something we'll talk about a bit more in the members live stream after this one about thoughts on stuff like that. So that was a fun find. But I believe the last thing, have I got through everything else? Maybe? Yes, I hope. The last thing I have is actually the team from Olo were incredibly generous and knew that I had half of the collection and didn't have all of them.
That wasn't the last thing.
What? What am I forgetting? What you're signaling to me, you're signaling a giant Rubik's Cube, which means that you're trying to tell me the color cube, even though we've had discussions about how much we hate when people think it's a giant Rubik's Cube. What Shane's trying to allude to is actually because we were an exhibitor this year. So we actually had the color cube on display for retailers to come and see if they want it in their shop. So by the way, if you have a local shop who you want to see the color cube in store, let them know that we have a wholesale program and we're actively looking for companies that want to work with us. And you know, if you harass them enough, they'll eventually come and find us. I don't know, don't do that. But at NAMTA we did win our first ever award, which you can't see because it's clear. The award for best packaging. Here we go. For the color cube design. And this is actually, like, for me really I don't have words for how I feel about this, because the only other award I've ever won was like an award when I was like 8 for calisthenics, and then like a group trophy for table tennis as a kid. This is really special. What I haven't included in that actually is the YouTube subscriber plaque. That's pretty special as well. It's really special, especially when you watch the video about the redesign that we did on the color cube and all the thought and the months that went into it, a lot of like my personal time to have it acknowledged in a way like this. And I mean, this is also at an event where you've seen some of the brands that were at this event. Like, you're talking Faber-Castell and Derwent and some of these really big brands, and we got the award. So that is really like very exciting, but also I'm kind of shocked about it. So that was really special. So yes, thanks Shane for reminding me to show that, because I did forget. But I will come back to Olo. So Olo very generously sent me not just the rest of the collection that I don't already own, and everyone keeps distracting me from this because now we have a new member.
Sorry, we have a new member. Fresh Funk Produce has joined our bronze member.
Ah, welcome to the membership. We have, so this is the Olo Tower, which suddenly makes these markers so much easier, and I am loving it already. It has a really satisfying spin too. Can I just point out? Like, sorry, this matters, right? That's a good spin. That matters. That's a significant, for comparison, the white thing that I bought from Kmart, Shane, that's over there. Do you want to bring that over here and I'll demo that spin? Priorities, right? The reason why this... Wait, no, I've got to demo the other spin first. Hang on. All right. So this is also supposed to be a spinning tray for supplies. All right. Ready? Let me try and give it a good spin. It sounds gross too.
Terrible.
Ugh.
That also makes the whole half marker thing way more convenient.
So this is there's a reason why this is important, because Olo markers are quite different to all of the other alcohol markers that you get, because actually you can pull them apart, which means you can match any color to any color or any tip to any tip. So you could have, like, most other markers. I'm just trying to look for a marker. There's a marker up here. Here we go. Most other markers have the same color and it's one barrel, and then you have like the brush tip and the bullet tip on the other end. You can do that for this, but it's worth noting this marker here actually contains the same amount of ink as this marker. That is in itself is crazy. I do have somewhere here that they gave me a while ago, an empty one, so you can see how much is in it. So this is like a comparison here. And again, I believe I can pull this one apart. Yeah. So there is a lot of ink in half a marker. And so half a marker actually works out the same as a normal marker. So to get the whole set, you actually just need to buy a bunch of half markers. And if you're someone like me who really only uses the brush tip, although that's starting to change, you can just buy only brush tips, save on space, still get the same amount of marker. And then now, because of this, you can still see all the colors. Because that was the one thing. I was keeping mine in a tub more like this because I couldn't put them in like my shelf unit, because then you can only see half the colors. So this is now like really cool. I actually have 2 of them because they've given me enough markers now to kind of complete the set properly. I still only have, I have a few duplicates now, but I still only have the brush markers for most of them, except for 1 or 2 that I got early on as samples that have like the chisel. I think, do they have fine tips? Are they working on fine tips? I can't remember. The chisel is also a different color to this. So you can, if you look top down for a second there, I don't know if my camera's set up really badly at the moment, but do we just go to black? Dramatic exit.
I pressed the wrong button.
So the chisel tip is actually a gray versus the brush that's the black. So there you can see the tips. So that is just really good. I've been using these a lot more for things that I want to do a lot of blending on. I find I tend to go to the Ohuhu if I want bold color to fill a big space. So a lot of like the coloring pages that I've been doing recently, I've been switching between the 2 brands because the Olos blend better, but the Ohuhus are easier to get a lot of color down quickly, and they tend to let out more ink. So the more ink makes them harder to blend, but good for filling in quickly, whereas these ones are a bit slower on releasing the ink, so they should last longer as well. But it means that then you have time to sort of blend the colors together. So I've done some videos on them in the past of like which is my favorite and stuff like that. One of the big things that I was less happy with the Olo was that I found them hard to find because I didn't have something like this at the time. So this for me is actually a pretty big game changer, and I'm really excited about them, and I'm probably going to use them a lot more now that I have this compared to what I used to. So
M Rose in the comments says the spin is very important.
Yes, absolutely.
And also Christine said, trying to get your color cubes in the store I run, just got a reply about US distribution.
Cool. Amazing. We have someone in our team you'll be working with Renee directly on that. So that's really exciting. We're very, very eager to see it in store. And if you do see it in the wild, please take a photo and like tag me on Instagram or something, because very excited to actually see it in stores. At the moment, I was very excited again to visit the art shop here in Australia because they're one of the only stores in Australia that have it. And so I actually went over and got to say hi to a few of the staff there. And yeah, it's really cool to see it in store. One last thing that is just a bit of a random one, but Olo also make an eyeliner. And I didn't know this, but apparently it's been out for a while. So, and I've just made a mess of this because I used it this morning, and because of my travel, my one of my powders has leaked over everything else. So it's all dirty now. But it's because it's been used. So I used it for the first time today. I am not a fashion advisor in any way. I'm not someone who really knows a lot about different options, but I will say compared to what I was using, this was really easy to apply. Probably easier than what I had. So I have also only used it once. I know for some of my other ones, the first time you use them, they're really nice. They sort of less over time. But I have heard a few other people actually vouching for this. So I don't know if that's something you're looking for.
That would be an epic April Fool's joke if it was like just a permanent Olo marker and they said, here's a cosmetic one.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's apparently sweatproof, waterproof, all day.
Legit.
It is legit. They do. They've been selling it for a while. I just didn't know about it.
Couple of questions.
Yes.
How do Olo brush compare to Copic brushes, and are the tips comparable?
All right. So that's something I know. I now basically don't buy a Copic anymore at all. The Olo brush is almost identical to the Copic brush. So if you like Copic more than Ohuhu, you will like Olo. Olo is the closest that you get to Copic, and in some ways is a lot better now, because the thing about the Copic, and if you watch my alcohol marker video, the Copic barrels... okay, let me give you a bit of background information here. I'm just trying to work out how much I'm allowed to say versus how much is not. Copic's quality has gone down. I'm trying to work out what's industry knowledge versus public knowledge, but the quality of Copic, there are reasons where they used to have that every single marker that would leave the Copic warehouse got personally checked by someone for the quality control. I believe that no longer exists. I might be wrong, but that's what I've heard. And so I know I've experienced a lot of the Copic markers that I buy have splits in the caps and you can't see them. They're like micro tiny splits. But when you finally look closely on any of your dry markers, often they're dry not because they've run out, but because of this split in the cap. And so that's with the sketch line of markers, which is the ones that are the most accessible and good. And like, I don't like the chow markers. I like the sketch markers, but I don't want to pay for the more classic markers. And so I just found, honestly, that the hassle of them hasn't been worth it. The company, like, I've got to meet the team that run Olo, and honestly, I would happily vouch for them, even as people, over many of the other brands that I've ever worked with. They're a wonderful, the couple that run the company are wonderful people, and have actually been in the industry for a long time, working with companies like Copic. So they actually understand a lot about how they work. So the Olo tip is the same as the Copic tip. It is as good. It is that same kind of soft tip compared to the Ohuhu, which is a bit more of a firm tip. And I don't think one is better than the other. I think out of all the markers I've tried, and I said this in the alcohol marker video, these two brands, or the three brands, kind of fit in this sweet spot in the middle where it's not too firm and not too soft. And then it kind of just comes down to preference from there. I do find that when I use the Ohuhu a lot, my instinct wants to use more Ohuhu. When I use the Olo a lot, I then want to use more Olo. I find that it is really just about habits, because the Ohuhu, I find I tend to be more aggressive and tend to be more firm, tend to scribble more, whereas the Olo, I tend to be more gentle and I tend to be lighter with my strokes and I slow down. So I like the experience of the Olo more, but that hasn't always been true. I, at some point, would have said the Ohuhu was better for me personally because I liked the fast scribble. So a lot of it depends on the mode you're in and the way you do things. I think they're both really good brands. I mean, Ohuhu recently sent me every marker they have, and they've been really supportive for our channel in like giving us all that stuff. Olo, I just really, really, really like the people that run it. And I mean, again, they've been incredibly generous in sending me all this stuff as well. So both brands, I think, have fairly good reputations in the art community, which can't be said for every other brand. There are other brands in the art community that I don't really promote anymore, and I don't like to bash them necessarily because their products are okay, but some of them treat creators like trash and accidentally dox people, and like there's stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and I've always been really big on, while I won't necessarily drag them through the mud for that, because it's not always fair to take a company's entire reputation off one person's experience. But I do keep these things in mind in the companies that I choose to work with. So, you know, the products that you see me mention more often, or like even Derwent, I've really loved like the few experiences I've had with Derwent. None of these companies are really like sponsoring us or anything like that. We don't have any official partnerships with anyone. I'm not an ambassador for any company. I've always been very big on trying to be able to be more honest in my impressions of everything. But I always do take into consideration a little bit the people behind the companies as well, especially as we're heading into a world where there's a lot of cheap stuff coming out with Timo and Shein, and a lot of stuff getting ripped off from human artists, and there's like a whole thing there of the world that we are walking into, where I want to be someone who among that really finds the brands who support artists and the brands who support humans and the brands that are small businesses. And I want to be a part of that and be a part of that world and promoting that, not just promoting more cheap crap entering the world. So that's the short version of a much bigger rant. But in summary, the Olo tip is the same as the Copic tip. Do we have any more questions, Shane? Or do you think maybe we should finish up before I accidentally spill too much of the industry secrets of the world? Or bag a company that I shouldn't? Or is this fun?
Well, I mean, you know.
Don't get me started on Crayola.
I wasn't going to mention it. But, yeah.
There may be a video coming soon.
Yes.
Yes. Crayola did email me back.
Yes, they did.
8 months after my 4 emails to multiple people from the company.
Anyway. Oh,
this is fun. See, if if we don't like get sponsored by any brand, we can bag them all, right? No, that's not what I'm about. I do like to keep people accountable.
And on that note, we will never get sponsored by anyone.
We're never getting sponsorship ever again. I mean, Ohuhu sent us everything, and I just pointed out how their paint markers are leaking. So we try to be honest. But I actually think that for me, that is that when you find the right brands to work with, they appreciate that more. They know that if they put the effort and the time into the product, if they're good people, if they make things and actually care about their audience, then I'm going to shout from the rooftops how much I love them. And you know that it's a real perspective, because if they don't, I'm not doing that for them. There's it's a benefit of not taking sponsorships, is that no one's buying my opinions, I guess, is how that works. But yeah, we've definitely gone on a tangent here. This feels like the kind of time to end a live stream before I say something stupid, or just, you know, before everyone gets bored and leaves. I don't have any tea to spill. This is coffee, so.
So members live stream.
Members live stream. When are we doing it? When are we doing it? What's the time?
Well, it's up to you. It's 12 o'clock now.
It's 12 o'clock now, so I should probably have some lunch. An hour? What do you think, Shane?
Sure.
Members, an hour? Meet back here in an hour? Yeah, I think that works. And what we're probably going to do in the members live stream, we had a plan, didn't we, Shane? What was the plan?
Was it the paper that I told you about?
Yes. We may have some product development things to run by you on some things that we're working on. So that'll be fun. So tune in or catch up on Discord later if you can't make it. And thank you everyone else for joining this live stream. I hope that there was something useful out of this, or something that maybe you want to buy or maybe now don't want to buy. Hope it was helpful either way, and if not helpful, at least entertaining. On that note, enjoy the rest of your day.